Do you ever feel like being a hater?
I don't know.
Because to me, being a hater is like way of life. Hi, I'm the thinking man's boy genius, Phoebe.
And I'm Jacques.
And welcome to Do You Ever Feel Like?
Where we ask the questions and everyone's thinking and no one's answering.
Is that the intro? I think so.
Oh my god,
Was
every
it clear
time
that
I'm
I was a hater then.
Yeah, here we go. Every time I'm like anticipating what you're gonna say. It's fabulous.
Or thinking man's Bo Burnham. That's another one. These are all good. Anyway.
Well,
What's with the
I don't
leaf
know.
blowers? The leaf blowers, the trucks, the machines. I feel like we need a service. We need a service that goes around these streets and gives men knitting projects, you know, maybe a little crochet, a coloring book,
Yes.
something. Why are you leaf blowing? What could there's possibly still to leaf blow? Again?
You know what? Have you seen? Oh my god, I'm gonna get her name wrong.
Kate Blanchett? Is that who it is?
Who?
Is it Kate Blanchett? That thing that you
Yes.
send me all the time?
Like, I hate leaf blowers.
Is it Kate Blanchett who says that?
Yeah, it's Kate Blanchett, but it's then there was this other, oh my god, what's her face? She's incredible. She's like a huge fashion icon. She lives in New York. She loves New York. You've probably seen that where she's like, I don't like Los Angeles. I don't like the sounds. I don't like the water. I don't like the climate. I don't like that. And she's like listing all
She's
of the
autistic.
things.
She's autistic. That's what I think when I hear people talk about that. I'm like, all right. Do you
If
know?
you know which celebrity I'm referring to, let me know. Send us a DM because I can't remember. She's like very, very talented, blonde. I have her face in my, whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyways, you remind me of that person and of that clip because exactly what you just said, autism.
Yeah. Like when I say I hate leaf blowers, I get so distracted by them. People are like, oh yeah, they suck. I'm like, no, I don't think you understand. It's like the equivalent of someone taking like an egg beater to my brain when I hear them. Like they are the world, they should be illegal. And it's so funny. I like got into like one of my groups the other day and everyone's like, how are you? And we're like, the leaf blowers and lawnmowers. Like, you guys, we could really start a revolution. There's enough of us here. We're persistent. We're annoying enough. We could really do some damage in Parliament.
Honestly,
Let's rise. It's not okay. It's just not okay.
No
and I don't know why
pressure.
people feel like it's like you can just do that.
It's like
And then I was like,
fireworks. It's like, why do people think that fireworks are acceptable?
we just had Victoria Day here.
I would love a firework if they were silent.
If they're quiet, they're so
If they were,
freaking
they're
loud.
beautiful. They're like lights in the sky is great. Silence. Like, why are they loud?
It's so funny. It's Simon's like Chinese side of the family too. Even bitches about them. I'm like, I thought you guys are supposed to love fireworks. Like, isn't that what you guys do all the time? And they're like, absolutely not.
Yeah,
So
isn't that
irritating.
Isn't that like not? It's colonialism. We are the ones that want to put fire in the sky.
Oh no! Well,
You know
like
what I'm saying?
Chinese fireworks are like a whole thing. They're like a whole thing. Like dragon festivals and stuff like that. They're like a huge big deal. But they're
Yeah,
like
but they're
no,
not
too loud. Too
They're
loud.
not loud,
I mean,
though.
I don't know. What do I know? What do I know about gunpowder?
I don't know a thing. All I know is that every other, like, I've seen fireworks in other places, and I think it's like a legal thing. Like, it's like not. Do you know what I'm saying? Like in other countries, it's like it can't be that loud, but like here somehow it's like it doesn't matter.
I just like don't understand how in a city it's allowed, like genuinely. So I'm like, I just feel like this in like an urban setting, it's not really a great idea for just like regular people to be lighting explosives off in the middle of a street. Like, oh, sorry, I'm crazy. Sorry, I'm the crazy one here.
Phoebe's the crazy one. Phoebe's the hater. This
Yeah,
is a really
I'm the
wonderful
hater.
transition to our
No, it's
conversation
perfect.
today. It's so good for many reasons. Fireworks, symbolism, like all of the
I just
things.
hate them. They're so
No, but
fucking
like
dumb.
there's also like a reason, and I'm not saying fireworks are responsible for gun violence, but there is a reason why in the States, especially, these really violent, you know, things happen on 4th of July or Memorial Day or whatever.
Yeah.
Because is it a gunshot or is it a firework? Like,
Yeah.
that is fucked. Like, I'm
Well,
sorry, but that's fucked.
it's
Like,
so I like I have this experience like every time I go down to the States where I'll say to somebody like I get very anxious when I am in America about
I'm sure
like
you do.
walking around with guns. And the only other like when I say that to like I was talking to a friend the other day and she lives in New York too, so she's like, whatever. She's like
Whatever.
I had said like, "Oh, I'm going to like XYZ like location." Like and I'm like really stressed about it. And
Mm-hmm.
she's like, "Oh, no, you'll be fine." And I was like, "Okay, but I don't
No,
live with that fear every single day, and you
no.
are, and you're just having to rationalize it being okay inside of your head." And, like, the
Cognitive
only
dissonance.
other people that get it are not Americans. Like, when I talk
Mm-hmm.
to people, even, like, in the UK or something like that, like, whatever, people are like,
Yeah.
"This is, like, really stressful and weird." I'm like, "Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I don't like it." And so it's like, yeah, I'm not even thinking gunshot or firework. I'm just thinking that sound is annoying and I don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't leave my house because I'm not
Yeah.
going to, like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Fucked.
I know.
No.
I know. Anyway, what are you watching
Anyways,
right now? What
okay,
what's
which
on
we have to talk.
TV?
We have to talk about Bridgerton. We have to talk about Bridgerton. It's
You know what?
essential. It is essential commentary that needs to be discussed.
I'm exhausted. I'm
Mm,
exhausted.
mm,
That's how I feel.
mm.
I'm on my second
Yeah,
rewatch of it because Netflix has got me in a
this
chokehold.
has taken you away.
Yeah.
Wait, second rewatch of the third season or second rewatch of the of all?
I've definitely watched season 1 multiple times. I don't know if I've watched
Mm.
season 2 more than once. Same thing with what was the Queen what was it called?
Queen Charlotte, Queen
Queen
Charlotte. I feel
Charlotte.
like
I
that
really liked
counts.
that show. I
Queen Charlotte
really liked
was
that. I
the
really liked
best out
that.
of all of them.
Uh-huh.
It
And
was
I
so
feel
good.
like okay, you can tell me how you feel about season 3 in a second, but I feel like they have lost some of that, like, majesty that they have had in other like, at
Yeah,
least the 1st season and Queen Charlotte.
yeah, I agree.
Like, I feel like I'm
This
watching,
is what
like
happens, right?
yeah, a puppet show.
Yeah, this is what happens. This is what happens. We have the Shondaland, whatever you want to call it, like the
Mhm.
thing that happens to Shondaland shows,
Yeah.
where after about the fourth season or about the fourth like install or whatever, like
Yeah.
we start to lose the plot a little bit. Like we start to lose the point. Like,
I don't
and
even, like
if you watch any other show, if you watch any other Shondaland show, Grey's Anatomy,
yeah, you have, like,
Scandal,
Grace
uh,
tattooed inside your
how
head.
to how to Get Away with Murder, any of these shows, I'm a huge Shonda fan.
Yeah.
But even if she's not directly writing or show running, which she isn't, she didn't create the show, she just produces
Mhm.
it. Shonda produces it. It's like this team of people around like third or fourth season, we start to go a little crazy, like wackadoo. And I don't
Well,
know
it's
what it
funny
is.
yeah, it's funny that you say Shonda because I think it's also a Netflix problem, and I
Oh,
also think
interesting.
it's a, like, look at what we can get like, look, we have all of these idiots trapped watching our thing, and we're gonna make them pay for 2 months of this thing just so they watch it.
These
Yeah.
no,
You can't tell me that
no,
that is anything but you
no.
want more of my money. You can't tell me
Yeah.
anything but
No,
that
that's
because
all it is. That's all it
yeah,
is. It's just
eh
capitalism. Like, no.
yeah, 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 absolutely, like, yeah, I can't remember someone was talking, they're like, "Oh, they split it up for this reason." I'm like, "Okay, sure, that's the PR reason why they're doing that, but, like, no, you just want 2 months worth of, like, so many billions of peoples of dollars or what like, just
Y-
fuck off." What was I saying, though? No, I think it's like, "Oh, we have all these people watching this thing. Let's see
mhm.
how little we can do and, like, get away
Yes.
with it." You know what I mean? Like, I
Yes.
think this happens to
Yes.
so many of their shows, and,
Yes.
like, I really feel like we're seeing the AIification of television, like, it's like
Okay. Wait.
we're at that part of the
Okay.
production of it all. Because what was that movie that we were watching? I was like, you can't tell me
I
that
know
robots don't have their hands all over this thing.
that's what I was gonna say. So Phoebe visited a few weeks ago when we watched The Idea of You
The idea of you, yeah.
with Anne Hathaway and whoever boy. Don't even know.
Nicholas Galitzine. Is that who that is?
I have no idea.
You
And
know who I
he
thought he was when everyone talks about him? You already know this because this happened in real time. I thought he was the hunky British guy from White
yes.
Lotus. That's who I think everyone's talking about when they say Nicholas Galitzine. What it's like this like little twink
That's not
who
him.
isn't
And
gay.
he's not gay. And also that man is starring in some weird Netflix show as well, the one you're actually thinking of. Anyways, about like a rich family who like is like in the weed business. Point being,
Thrilling for me.
we thrilling. We watched The Idea of You and we were like, "Oh my god, it's happening." It's happening. Like this
Robots.
crazy robot AI shit. That script, whatever. This is not about The Idea of You, but
No.
I see it. I see it in Bridgerton too. I totally feel like watching that movie and then watching Bridgerton season 3. I was like, "Oh my god, it is
Yeah,
hard.
the
Like it's
robots are
happening.
here.
People do not talk like this. People do not
No,
look like this. This is
no,
insane."
no.
Like,
And I
mhm.
feel like what, okay, I was about to say not to be a total hater, but no, I'll be a total hater. I just feel like I said, like the majesty of like the first, like I feel like they kind of lost their own plot in a sense. Like I find like the background characters are better dressed than the main characters. I feel like they don't even
Mhm.
know who the main characters are anymore. There's so many side quests, and the side
Yeah.
quests are like all put on the same level. Like I just
Mhm.
feel like there's no like attention or focus, and it kind of sucks because I feel like Coughlin and like actually, you know what? Just her, the women. I was about to say what's his face, but
I
no,
don't
I
know.
don't
I
really feel.
literally don't even know his name. I
Yeah,
don't,
no,
what is
and
his
I
name?
don't need to know a man's name. It's not my business. But I don't need to retain that information. Like
Exactly.
she's incredible. I think like a lot of like the
Oh
woman
my
that
god,
plays
she's
Eloise as
so
well. What's her
incredible.
name? Oh God, I can't remember anyone's
We
name
should have came
anymore.
more prepared. Cassie? We should have became more prepared. Cassie? I
I
think her
don't
name's
know.
Cassie.
Let's
She,
find out.
as a human being, doesn't have social media, and I respect that. That
I always think
actress.
it's amazing that actors have been able to like get that far in their careers without it because I've heard from so many folks that like they're looking at follower counts when they're
Oh my god, I literally put
casting
her name together. Her name is Claudia Jessie, but I said Cassie in my
Cassie.
brain.
That's my Claudia Jessie. She's got a really great like South London accent. I was watching some
Mm-hmm.
interviews earlier the other day. Oh my god, she's great. But
She's
yeah, I
very
think like the women
stylish.
in the show are like really I think people are very talented, and I even think like, production's very talented. I just think we're just seeing like these billionaire dickheads, like what we're seeing across all industries, all arts industries right now. We're
Mm-hmm.
just seeing these billionaire dickheads take more money and cut more and like try to get away with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A thousand
So,
percent.
anyway,
Yeah.
I also find the
And
initial
I
premise of friends to lovers absolutely unfathomable. Being friends with a man? I'd never.
okay. Weren't you friends with whatever? I'm not gonna get into that. Never mind. Yes, I hear you. I also think okay, so clearly if you're listening to this, like I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I
Leave
don't know what
if
to tell
you
you.
have
Yeah, if you don't wanna listen to
whatever.
Bridgerton for the
Like
next
I don't even know what to tell you. Like I get out. Like whatever.
absolutely
Stop listening.
spoilers ahead, but also I don't know, I can't imagine that it already hasn't been
Yeah, if you
spoiled.
haven't watched Bridgerton,
Yeah. I think
you've if
I
you've
literally watched
whatever.
it, like, the first 24 hours
I
that it
didn't
came
get to do
out.
that, which was like whatever. But okay, so yes, I think what is interesting too, and like I don't know if this is true for like every other production season, the marketing and the PR and the like all like season 3, it's like heavy, 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 heavy. And it's probably because it's been such a success up to this point and
Mhm.
because of like the plot line and like we're gonna reveal, you know,
Mhm.
Lady Whistledown gets her lover. Like there's something interesting about that. We all know this is the first season where the audience knows if you haven't read the book, like what's actually going to happen, which I think
Yeah.
is like an interesting thing too. And
Mm.
like, I feel like maybe that's why I wasn't feeling the sense of like majesty or the sense of like anticipation in the same way,
Yeah,
because I know what's going
yeah.
to happen. But I
But
think like
I
even,
don't think that's, like, enough of an excuse for the lack of lust and,
oh
like,
no, there's
yearning
something else
in that
going
show,
on. No,
because
there's
I
something
think
else
you
going
can
on.
do that, like, as somebody who loves to watch the same thing over and over again and, like, I, like, will read about a movie before I go and
Yeah.
see it. Yeah, like, there's just no excuse, like, I don't think that's, like, enough.
I do feel
Like,
like it was
like,
rushed.
switch between, like, potentially finding somebody cute and, like, fingering them in a carriage is, like that was a rocket ship.
It was only 4 hours. We got
There was
4
no
hours. It was like,
journey, there was no
there
journey
was
I went on.
no. And I feel like the journey wasn't even set up previously enough in the other seasons for
Yes,
you
like,
to
the last
be.
2 seasons, you could have been doing this 100%.
Yeah. And when we think about like a season, right? When we talk about like the season and the time
Mhm,
has started,
mhm.
right? That's a summer. That's
Yeah,
like a
it's supposed to be, like, their
spring.
spring.
It's like 3 months or something.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry, but I'm not buying this timeline. And on top of that, well, this is what I was going to say about production is like, I feel like in this season, we're just starting to hear about like all of these ways that they tried to like modernize Bridgerton. Like, there's like costume designers are talking about how the costume team did an interview and they were talking about how they tried to keep all the silhouettes of the time of like Regency, but none of the fabric, color, like design,
Yeah.
embellishment, etc.
Mhm.
Or like how like even the hair and the makeup of season 1, like Jonathan Bailey in season 1 looked like he was plucked right out of Pride and Prejudice. You know what I'm saying? Like the
Yeah. Oh,
sideburns,
absolutely, and,
the
like,
like
fucking yeah, Francesca
yeah,
looks like she has TikTok. Like, that she's got, like, a
exactly.
fucking makeup filter on. Like,
And
it's so
now it's like
distracting looking.
it's so distracting. It looks like I'm watching an Instagram. Like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like that's what I think was feels like such this huge leap. And like
Well,
the
and I think
costumes
that's,
are
like
getting more modern. Like it's
mhm.
weird. Yeah.
I think it's really unfortunate too because like unless like I said like and it used to be this thing in like 80s and 90s movies where like you would look at historical costuming and like background characters would always be dressed in like really like weirdly wonderful like historically and I don't even think
Hmm.
people need things to be historically accurate, you just need to sell the illusion enough, right? And now when you look at
Yes.
Bridgerton there's like literal shots where I'm like, where am I in time and space? Like, quite
Oh
literally.
my
Like, it
god.
doesn't even
Mhm.
look like we're in any kind of reality. Everyone's veneers are extremely distracting as well. People that
Yes.
I mean, the veneers in Hollywood are absolutely fucking crazy. Like, people with
They're going
straight ass
crazy.
fucking teeth getting veneers. It is
It's insane.
like cr
And then like even down to the like how like manufactured or like glossy the like Netflix Bridgerton bee is. You know what I
Mhm,
mean? Like the logo,
mhm.
like it didn't used to
Yeah,
look like that. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like it's like everything is so, yeah, it's like it feels so glossy.
yeah.
And I'm like I don't like it. I don't like it. Why when Penelope is in a fucking carriage and her fucking dress is getting pulled up, is there not a little dirt on her hem? Like, can you
Yeah,
give me some
yeah,
reality, please? And
yeah.
I know that Bridgerton was never intended. It was supposed to be like, obviously, this like cut and paste historical accuracy. We're
No,
supposed to
I
be in
like
like a fictional place that like
sure.
expands time and space, right? You know
But
what I mean?
even the rules of that world that you have set up
You're
previously
not
are being
following. You're not
broken.
following. Yes, you're
Yeah,
not following the rules.
and that's what's
I don't like it.
distracting. That's what's distracting. I know. I know. I know.
It's so
I just
distracting. I'm like,
it's yeah, I really do think, like, that's what we're kind of seeing. Because I always think I remember when, like, the big writer strikes were going on, and I was
mhm,
like, the unfortunate thing about these big I mean, it wasn't just writer strikes, right? It was everything. It's like we don't see the effects of that right away, right? Like, so it's, like, kind of
right.
hard for us to understand. We only see them, like, a year or 2 later,
Oh.
and that's what I feel like we're kind of in right now, like, we're seeing the effects of, like, what was in production over and obviously,
Hmm.
probably the season was written also a couple of years ago at the same time, but, like, You know what I mean? Like, I think we're just starting to
Hmm.
see, like, these changes in, like, every single creative industry.
Yeah.
I just, like, yeah, it sucks, like, it sucks. And I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, I do believe that, like, artists artists always win and artists always conquer. Like, I do really believe that. I have to
Hmm.
believe that if I, like, wanna believe in just change in the world, but, like,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know, it sucks, and I kinda to me, it kinda sucks too because it's like, I really do I think, like, Nicola Coughlan is, like, slay, and,
Oh my God. The
you
fact that
know
that woman is 37 years old.
I know, I know. Go snatch her
Insane.
face off of like, I'm still technically in my 20s for a couple more months. Actually, Monday is my half birthday.
So exciting. Okay, so I had no idea before this season how much of a fandom, like how much of a world this is, like the Bridgerton world,
Have
right?
you seen the
Like
Bridgerton balls?
I, now I have,
Oh, I
because
can't
now
believe you have
my
yeah.
algorithm knows I like Bridgerton, so now all I'm doing is being
There's,
served
like,
like
one, like,
call-in
every
content.
quarter in Toronto.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like this is like a whole thing. There are people who like and then all this content is being made and there's all these Bridgerton fan accounts and like my algorithm has totally figured out that I like
That
this.
you're
And
a
so now it's
white
like
woman in her
yes,
30s.
it's serving me all of these
Horny.
things about Bridgerton. Exactly. And I'm like, I find it so insane. Okay, so Nicola put this on her Instagram, but the 2.3 billion views of
Mhm,
season 3 and how they're like it was like in the millions for season 1, season 2 and Queen of Charlotte. Do you
mhm.
know, have you seen this? Have you seen this?
Billion?
2.3 billion people have watched season 3 of Bridgerton.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Netflix.
2.3 billion minutes.
2.3 billion
Minutes, it's
views.
not views.
Oh, estimated minutes. 2.3 billion
Watch
minutes.
time, yeah.
That's wild. That's
That is
wild.
crazy.
And you have all of this content of folks, these like influencers or these like, comedians online, whatever, like making these videos of just watching the carriage scene over and over again. So I'm sure just the last, 2 minutes of that show have
Mm,
also been viewed separately. And I don't, I'm not understanding the fascination with the carriage scene. I have my own feelings
sex scenes?
about the sex scenes, and I have my own feelings about specifically Colin and Penelope. And like, I think for the previous seasons, I was like not taken away by the sex scenes. I was like, this is weird. This person is like a model. This is like feels very like I don't like this. There's something relatable about two, not thin, beautiful people. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like in a
Mhm.
carriage getting it on. And I am taken away by that. But the fact of the matter is that like people are obsessed with this carriage scene and I'm very confused by it because I'm like, are you all not having are you all not having sex, which is true.
Well, it's
Nobody's having
true,
sex,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is true. But also
Well, the
like
children aren't having sex. The children I should not say that. Well, maybe it's a good thing. Like, Gen Z isn't having sex, and that's like a moral panic or whatever, right?
yeah, yeah. And apparently those people are supposed to be young, which you know more about because you're reading the books. But I'm like,
No, they're
everybody
supposed to be
hates this scene.
older. They're supposed to be older
Oh,
than they
they're
are
supposed to
in the
be
yeah.
older. They're
Yeah,
supposed to
they're
be
like
older than they are
late 20s, early 30s in
in the
this
books.
book,
But
yeah.
they're supposed to be like 19 and 20 in the show. Like Penelope's supposed to be
Mhm.
like 19. And she's all like, I'm nearly on the shelf. And I'm like, girl, what? I'm so confused.
I
You're
know. Well,
19.
that's what
Like,
she's 29 in the book, and she's like, "I'm a spinster," and I'm like, "Hell yeah, girl!
and
I'm
I'm
an
like,
unmarried
that
spinster too."
yeah, like that's believable. But like the fact, I don't know, that's very confusing to me.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, people are so into this carriage scene. And I'm like, are you guys, what's going on there? Why do we think this scene is so hot?
I
Uh,
don't know. I mean,
I
I
loved
like
it and I thought it was hot, but not watching it over and over and over again hot. Like,
no,
I
and I
don't
think it
understand.
could have been hotter if I was given more fucking yearning, quite frankly. Like,
Yes.
I
Yes.
didn't it wasn't enough for me. Like,
There were
to
not enough
me,
stolen
the
glances.
sexiest no, there was not enough glances.
No.
Ugh, ugh. To me, like, the sexiest thing in all of cinema, I think this is a question on Brett Goldstein's podcast where he talks about movies. He's like, "What's,
Mm.
like, the hottest thing in a movie?" It's the hand flex in Pride and Prejudice, obviously. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. And what
Yes.
are you guys fucking around, playing around with? There's a template sitting there waiting for you. Also, I was thinking about this morning. Getting fingered in a carriage is a dangerous game. A slip of the finger in the wrong direction, it's over. You're dead.
Dangerous, dangerous,
You're getting
dangerous.
impaled.
You're getting impaled. Also, to hear them talk about filming that scene is fucking hilarious. Of like, we're on a sound stage and people are just literally moving the carriage.
That's really funny. You know what I think about when I think about fingering in movies is
What?
in The Favorite, Olivia Colman was putting wet sponges to shock Emma.
To Rachel. Yeah.
So when they
Yes.
stuck their hand up her dress, they were like, "Oh my god."
Women.
Yes,
Right?
women.
Like women doing
Women
it
in
best.
cinema,
Okay.
women in STEM, really.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Okay. So what is this theory? Is it that like that like the freaks, like the fat, ugly people, which first of
Well,
all,
people don't know that freaks fuck. They don't know that
no,
freaks
they
fuck.
don't like that. And
Uh-huh.
or they like it. They like it actually.
They like it,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
like first of all, we can also talk about the fact that like this is a whole other fucking thing. But like these people are supposed to be like the outlier, like they're supposed to be like the weirdos of Bridgerton. Like Colin is like not hot,
Yeah,
but
two
is hot.
objectively gorgeous people.
Exactly. Two
What the hell's happening? There's balloons behind you. Whatever, we have to move on.
Apple really likes that we're talking about this. Two objectively beautiful people are supposed to be like the like ugly ones, which is like so strange. Also,
Well, he's not supposed to be ugly. She's supposed to be ugly.
yeah, she's supposed to be
And
ugly.
how
She's supposed to be
strange it is
unwanted.
for a man to love an ugly woman when really we all know it's the other way around. Women are gorgeous angels. Men are
Yes.
hell devils.
Yes.
Gremlins.
And look, I am all for people seeing themselves in this relationship. I'm all for women being empowered, that like a fat girl is getting, sexed up in a
Fingered.
carriage. Like I fucking love that. Like, yes, like
Fat
let's
girls
go.
get
Like,
fingered. Hell yeah.
yes, like empowerment. But I'm also like, this is saying something, right? Like people's reaction to this scene and to this couple in a way that has never happened in previous, you know what I mean, like seasons is saying something about what we are usually consuming, right, as an audience, which is like extremely, extremely beautiful people. And again, Luke and Nicola are extremely beautiful people. Oh my God, I remembered his name. But
A man's name in your brain?
But like all these other seasons, you've got like literal like runway models. Do you know what I'm saying? You have Jonathan Bailey, you have Phoebe, you have whatever, like, you know what I'm saying? And again, doesn't mean those people shouldn't have sex on camera. All I'm saying is that that's what we're usually
I don't mind watching them have sex on camera. I'm not bothered by it.
I don't. They're beautiful, but we're usually watching this, right? This like stereo Eurocentric white supremacist ideal beauty, blah 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 blah, right? Like, and so people are charged for Colin and Penelope. Yeah. And I'm like, girl, get your life somewhere else. Like, can you expand your your viewership of sex? Like, what porn are you watching? What there are people out here, like, it's just confusing to me.
You need to watch more ugly people in porn. I think I said this to you the other day. People don't know. Like, I remember, like, this is because we were musical theater kids, and like, if you're a musical theater kid, you know who's fucking in the most at musicaltheaterkidcamp.com? Musicians. Yes. The band. They're all over each other. And they're backstage people.
And I think that's also
they aren't the glossy girls that you think are fucking.
No.
Catilla Taylor too.
The costume shop.
I did backstage. I was exactly. I've had many a journey.
I think there's a reason that so many theater folks like Bridgerton, because it's like we're in the theater. It's like we're like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm very excited for all of it. I apparently this mirror scene is a thing. Is that in the book? Or
I don't know yet. I haven't gotten
because you
there
haven't
yet.
read it?
Yeah, I haven't
Okay, well, I
gotten
might
there.
be spoiling things, but if you watch any of the
I
fan
don't think, and
content,
yeah, everyone's talking about this mirror scene. You know what? Like,
and you know what, Nicola, like, good for you. And she was like, this was empowering. I took off like all my clothes. I'm like so excited to show my whole body. Like, yes, bitch. Like, I'm
yeah.
so ready for it.
I
So
want some
ready for it.
shaft though. Give me a shaft.
Where?
Give me a
I,
dong.
why?
Give
Why
me
are
a
we not?
dong.
I don't need to see another man's ass. I also don't
No.
need to see another man's like perfectly tanned, shaved,
Hmm.
like Ken doll
Hmm.
ass.
No, no,
Get
I
it
know.
out of
I
here.
want at least the upper third or the lower third. I'm not even asking
Yes.
for the whole thing.
No. No.
Give me a
No.
little shaft. Give me a little
And
dong. Give me a
mhm,
little side ball. For all, I'm
something.
happy. But I want equity.
I want equity for all these lady of the night like boobs I keep seeing that are
Don't even
just
get me
out.
started.
Like I just saw something on social the other day that was like, we need to talk about. And it's so funny when people
No,
these
no, we don't.
declarations on
Stop it.
Instagram.
Stop. We don't need to talk about anything. In fact, you and I should be stopped.
We need to talk about how the men in Bridgerton like go to sex workers basically. And
We
then
need to talk
like
about how men are horrible to women. Okay, you want to have that conversation? You want to have that conversation?
yes.
You want to talk about how men are horrible? Okay, we can do that.
Okay, we could have that conversation. But I'm like, again, I'm like super confused by this like line we're trying to have in Bridgerton of like,
Yeah.
we're not in history, but we are in history. But
Yeah.
like men for as long, or especially men in that standing, right? Like,
Yeah.
or in those like groups for like tale as old as time, that sex workers taught men how to have sex for their wives. Like, that's like, what? Like women taking
Mhm.
care of women.
Yeah.
Is the way that I
Well,
think about that.
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
a woman,
truly.
like that's what that has always been. And so
I
this
mean, that
idea that
still
like
happens
Brit
now, today.
now, right now, it happens right now today. And so the fact that Bridgerton, fucking
Yeah.
Bridgerton on Netflix is like having you, and again, this is kind of how I felt about the Barbie movie, as I was like, if you're walking away from the Barbie movie, like, I don't know, like empowered or something, like if you're walking away from the Barbie movie a changed person, you have issues that you need to go look at. Like, and that's how I kind of feel about Bridgerton. I'm like, if you're excited about seeing a fat person on screen having sex, you've got some things that you need to go work
You
out.
can
If
just
you're
come to
like,
my house. I will show you my boobs. It's fine. Like,
like if you are like, you need to expand your friend circle. If you are like
yeah,
enraged
if you're
about
just seeing fat boobs today,
yes, if you're enraged about the idea that men have been, you know, using sex work, or not, that's not the right word, using, paying for it, what's the right word,
I guess both.
for
I mean,
going
using
to
I
sex
do.
workers,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever, and then like I just like turn off your television and read something. Like, that's, do you know what I'm saying?
Or
I think
just
that's
like
another
talk
thing.
to the person next to you. Because
Go
guess
talk
what?
to the person.
Guess what? They're fat and they fuck.
They're fat and they
I mean, I think a lot of
they
this.
visited a sex worker. Like, what is
Yeah.
this? I don't know.
I think a
Yes.
lot of this is kind of reminding me around like the conversation that people were having around like the colorblind casting in like that they've kind of like become known for or whatever now.
Yeah.
Because I think what people are getting at, even like when you're talking about race or when you're talking about like, sex work or whatever these things are, it's like, okay, you can't have your cake and eat it too,
No.
It's like where do we live? Like, do we live in like this post-racial like divide like heaven? Or do we live, and because it's like they do both. They do
They
both.
do both.
And you know what?
And they flip back and forth. And it's like, are we post-racial? Or, and even in the first season, it was like a thing with the Hastings household, like breaking into society for being a black family, or like stepping into society for being a black family. And it's like, what? Like, I don't understand. I'm sorry. I'm so excited about talking about Bridgerton. Is there anything we like? I'm really all for Violet getting her garden watered. Like, let's go, Violet.
That's
And
really
this
funny.
man.
Oh my God, you are such a prude. That's the funniest thing you've ever said. Oh my God. her garden watered. That's like the most like waspy shit.
That's a reference to Bridgerton. That's a reference to Bridgerton. They say it in Queen Charlotte. She's like, I'm ready to have my garden watered. Like my gardens are abloom. That's what she says in the art museum to Lady Danbury.
My God, that's so funny, Jacqueline.
I'm literally repeating a reference. I would never say that in any other circumstance.
I don't believe that for 1 second, but okay.
Okay. I'm all for that relationship.
I'm ready.
I know, right?
Ew.
Ew, gross, disgusting. I'm really ready for that, and I have a theory.
Yeah, I'm ready for how messy that's gonna be.
I have a theory that Francesca's love interest, the young Francesca, you're not gay, and it's making me mad. Like,
yeah,
maybe
Jacqueline
you are,
thought Francesca
and we're
was
gonna
gay
be
when
tricked.
the whole internet just was like, she's autistic. She doesn't want to go out. She doesn't like loud music. She just wants to play the piano.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, you're gay. Well,
you can't be gay and autistic.
Exactly. No, you can't do both. Even though I watched this season, I watched a interview that was like, Bridgerton is going to be queer at some point. And I was like, okay. But I think that man that likes Francesca is the son of the man that likes Violet. I think they're...
Oh, that's a good theory.
That's my theory.
Huh. I don't know.
Somehow.
I don't know enough to... Because that's Lady Danbury's brother, right? So
brother.
Has she had an interaction with her, like, supposed nephew then?
No.
That's what I'm wondering.
I think something happened with that. Because on the press tours, they are always together when they interview. There's something going on there.
Okay. Slay.
Anyways, that is what I'm fucking... Like, this, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm interested in.
Yeah. I think they should have separated those seasons. Like, I think if you wanted to have the Colin and Penelope thing, like, you should have just done it. I think they got so distracted. I think they're, like, trying to do a million things. On. Yeah. Yes. There's just, like, so many plots. And, like, Kate and what's his face are
we always have an introduction to the
whiplash
couple in the beginning of each of the seasons. But because I went back and watched season 1 and season 2 since watching season 3. And season 2, you're right. Do you know how many fucking episodes there are of Anthony and Kate just staring at each other?
Staring at each other.
Just like, or like ending up in the same place,
and
but not kissing.
Sex. That's
almost
good.
Kissing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Do you know how many? There's like 3 or 4 declarations of passion and love. Not one in a carriage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though I have heard, again, through these like weird things that I've now been sucked to on the internet, that there's like an episode in the second half where it's basically just Colin and Penelope having sex the entire time.
I mean, I'm excited for it, but I just want a little bit more glances, okay?
Yes. Can we just have some more stolen glances?
I'm just a gal.
And again, I think there's so many women who deeply, deeply, deeply relate to Penelope. I do. I'm a weird fat girl. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
like,
and I think, absolutely. And it's like, I think who you are, like, yeah, I was a weird, ugly, fat girl until I wasn't one day. And like that, I think so many people relate to that story, right? Of like,
yes.
You know, yeah, whatever that is. So it's like, oh, but this is what we get, you know?
Yes, it feels like
you get AI.
Unfair. It feels unfair.
Yeah. Anyway, well, that's an hour on Bridgerton.
Okay, sorry. Well, we've done them. I think we've done Pollen. I think we've done them a disservice to have them be in this weird, fucked up season, production-wise, you know?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, part 2, I guess, incoming. I'll watch that because I'm a little sheep.
I'm going to go back now and watch Queen Charlotte because I watched only 1, 2 Bridgerton. And Charlotte
really liked Queen Charlotte.
Is really
good.
Liked,
yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. I love a mental health storyline.
He's crazy, but he's hot.
Exactly.
Me, also me.
The woman is the only one that can tame the crazy man.
And with her magical pussy.
With her gentle
Crazy.
touch.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Best one by far.
Yeah, it was good.
Okay, I have like a little creative confession to make. I thought, as for being a creative business person, I could not have a system because I am a, hater. I could not have organization. So I am really kind of famous in my friend group and my life and my partnership with Jacqueline for being the person that buys all of the ingredients for the cake, puts them out on the counter. Maybe I'll like make up some cake batter too. I might even get that far. And then I fully get distracted by something else that's pretty and shiny, like a cute new idea, and forget about it. And I felt for a really long time that because I am, squiggly brained, because I'm neurodivergent, because I'm autistic, because, executive dysfunction, and like also, I'm a Sagittarius and like I don't drink enough water, whatever the thing is, whatever the thing that we want to tell ourselves is like why we can't do something. I thought that systems were not for me. I thought for being a creative business person, I could not have a system because I am a, hater. I could not have organization. And what I've really learned about my creative process is that actually that's like not a bad thing. That like pulling all of the ingredients out on the counter isn't a bad thing. It means I'm impulsive. It means I'm spontaneous. It means I get really excited about something. It means that I'm passionate. It means that I'm really good at starting. I'm really good at starting. It doesn't mean that I'm like lazy, crazy, stupid, dumb, or like my ideas are bad, or like I'm not enough, whatever the thing is. It just means that I need a little bit more support to keep going. I need a little bit more support to like pay attention to what I'm doing. When we get clear about our creative process, what we're actually understanding is a system. The thing that makes me feel like I'm not good enough isn't me. It's other people. It's capitalism. It's systems. I've been taught my entire life a bunch of shoulds. I've been told by, Instagram ads that there is a specific way to do something right. And because I'm not doing that, that's why, my cakes are never baked. Why I'm like, an incomplete finisher, so to speak. But when I give myself the space and freedom and time to follow an idea the way that I want to, all of a sudden I can publish Substacks. All of a sudden I can submit essays. All of a sudden I can run a business. All of a sudden I can write a sales page. All of a sudden I can record the pod. All of a sudden I can make a reel, right? Like I can make things that actually follow my idea. When we get clear and when we start to trust our creative practice and become a well-resourced artist, that is where, we can shine, we can thrive, we can live. As two neurodivergent business owners, we knew that the status quo didn't work for us. So we created something that did, and we want to share that with you as well. So you come join us for class outside, 3 months, to bring your like little spark of idea, your, all of your cake ingredients pulled out on the counter, or maybe you need some help going and figure out what ingredients to go and get into like a real life thing, a real fully realized baked cake. And then we have our September retreat dates that are open now as well. I would love for you to join us. We're bringing 10 magical, wonderful, weird, creatives with us, haters, if you will, for 3 nights, 4 days in the Catskills. It's going to be a wonderful time. I'm really excited to do nothing with you and to make and to create and have an understanding of our own creative processes and, make the world a rock and roll place. If you want to learn more, there's more information down below, or, you slide into our DMs on Instagram, wherever the heck you want to connect, because we're really excited for you to join us. Okay, bye.
The bisexuals love this season.
Why?
Of Bridgerton.
Why?
I don't know. There is many
as a community.
As a community, I have some theories about this, and
why? Because of like the hair. Why?
Okay. So I have many theories. There's like many very specifically like bisexual stan for Bridgerton, like for pollen accounts. I don't know what it is.
Your algorithm is so weird.
It's so fucked. Then there's also, so then I was like, what the fuck is this? And so then I started to Google. There are Reddits about this.
There are Reddits.
Okay. So I have many, first of all, I also didn't realize Yeah, Phoebe, people really, really love like this couple. Like they think they're the hottest Bridgerton couple
I was
so
going to
far.
say, we are on very different internets because that's not what I've seen.
What is your internet telling you?
People are like,
That
flop.
it's really?
Flop. Okay. This is great because. So, do you ever feel like being a hater?
I don't know.
Because to me, being a hater is like way of life. It's like my operating system. I was put on earth to be a hater, and my algorithm knows this about me. I don't know. Maybe your algorithm doesn't know this about you,
That I'm a hater?
or that you could be.
Well, I don't know. I feel like I agree with you that like there is a part of me that wants to be a contrarian for the sake of being a contrarian. Right?
I don't even feel like that is it. I just feel like it's
that's not it.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
not what being a hater is.
Yeah.
Being a hater is a
How
way
do
of
you
life.
define being a hater?
It's a way of life.
Okay, yeah.
It's what I believe is a dying art form. Being a hater is about being cool. It's about standing at the back of the room. It's about being like not knowing better than everybody, but seeing it's about seeing. It's about seeing clearly what's actually going on. That's what being a hater is.
Yeah, I'm a hater.
Yeah, you're a hater.
I'm definitely a hater.
Yeah.
Yeah. If we're talking by those terms.
Yeah.
Which again, like my algorithm, doesn't understand
Your
that about
algorithm
me. Maybe.
is like that of like a 40-something-year-old woman's.
Well, yeah, that's because I am a 40-something-year-old woman.
I might actually put it around like late 50s.
Yeah, 60 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's quite fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, it's weird though because sometimes I'll see things that you'd never see,
No.
and that are like not even like 60-year-old Jacqueline, that are like things that you would actually be quite like interested in, but you're like, I've never seen this before.
No.
Which is weird.
No. And then
Because I feel like we like very similar things.
I know, but yeah, our tastes are definitely very similar. But like where we go on the internet
don't
is very
interact with
different.
things.
Yeah.
Here's the difference: is I don't interact with things. Like I am such a passive internet consumer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. The most I do is share something in a message. I don't like things. I don't comment on things.
You don't like
I don't
things?
I save them and I share them.
That's funny.
But I don't.
This is like always
interact
really
with the
funny to me
content.
when people are bitching about like algorithms and stuff like that, like, or just like, oh, I didn't get enough likes on stuff. I'm like, well, how do you use the internet?
Exactly.
Like, are you commenting
1000%.
all of the time?
This is why, like, whenever I have those feelings, I'm like, you know what, Jacqueline, you don't do this for other people. I mean, I do that for like my friends.
No,
like,
but
people who feel,
whatever.
close
But it's
to
like,
me.
think about what moves you to like a thing.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So maybe this is part of being a hater. Maybe, and I feel like I might accidentally be describing like incel culture, but being a hater is actually very specifically for the girls. I would also like to say the girls, gays, and theys. I think that's like what being a true hater is about. And I also think like,
is this like not liking anything? Is this like not being able to have fun? Is this like not joy?
Okay.
Is this like
that
like
really irritates me when I say things in the world and people are like, you don't know how to have fun. I'm like, actually, I have a lot of fun. I have a lot. I have more fun than all of you. Arguably. So much fun. But I think it's like, I think being a hater is about like, yeah, like when I meet like the truth, like what is like, can we be honest here instead of just like gaslighting ourselves? Like to me, gaslighting myself is not fun. And like, I think being a hater, the reason why I think it's a dying art form is I think we're just kind of like told what to like right now in like our media landscape is so fucking vast. Like The amount of
Yes.
Substacks I'm subscribed to is insane. Do I read all of them? No. My TBR list is absolutely wild. And then I have my TBR list on my library app. And then I have my TBR list on like my holds or like, you know, my pre-orders from like my bookshop or whatever. And then I have like my Letterboxd account with my like the things that I want to watch next. And then like I open up my phone and I scroll, and then there's YouTube, and I like, you know what, there's so much fucking shit to consume. And I think we're kind of lost in this like look like the next thing, like what's the thing that we're all watching right now? And then because there's so much to consume, the stakes of having a bad time are so high. And I don't even think it means we're like watching good things. We're just watching safe things. And I think being a hater is even about watching something quote unquote good or something quote unquote bad and just being honest about it. And I think that's not the way that we're consuming anymore. I think we're consuming in a way that we're like I don't even think we're like enjoying the things like, and if we're gonna get like, I don't think we're enjoying art. I think we're just like
no,
you know.
Yeah, well, this is about status, right? Like, I think that is what I find really interesting about the consumption of media now. Or like, even the latest, like, oh my God, that, like, series where this woman takes us through her, like, narcissistic, abusive, that was, like, a while ago on the internet relationship. Have you heard about this?
Oh, that woman, the TikTok, yeah.
Or like a Taylor album drops or Bridgerton or like whatever the thing is, it's about like how fast can you consume something and then like what value or status is that giving you?
Yeah.
Not even necessarily about like, or like how cool are you? Not necessarily even about the thing that's being made, you know?
Yeah, and I think like actually I think like Taylor Swift is like a funny example of this because like everyone has an opinion about this woman. Either you're a Swiftie or you're not, you know? And like I just like never got on the Taylor Swift
I couldn't care less
thing. Only because like that wasn't interesting to me that week in like the 6th grade or something like that. And like I feel like I missed the boat, you know? Like I have no other opinions. Like I'm like, hell yeah, girl, love your bangs.
Right.
Find it impressive your red lipstick stays on all the time. Not me.
Don't know why you're dating that man.
Don't know why you're dating that man. Don't know why you're dating that man. But I would say that about to all women. So
oh no, 1,000%. That's what I mean. Yeah. Like, these are all the only opinions.
Yeah, and it's like I feel like if I say to somebody, if someone talks about Taylor Swift and I'm like, I don't know, that's like a slight, you know? Like I am perceived as a hater in that moment, which is not true. Being a hater is much more complex. Yeah.
I think that's what's hard for me is I'm like, what is it? Like, what is it? Like, I feel oftentimes like I can't enjoy a single damn thing, like nothing, like I can't enjoy anything. And part of me thinks it's what we're talking about, this idea of this like overconsumption. And then I'm an artist. So then there's like this, like, can we enjoy things as artists? That like, can we consume art? Do you know what I mean? Like, can we, like, what is everyone else experiencing? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, you're in an art museum, you're watching a piece of something, you're watching a film. I want to know what it feels like to like not understand how like the sand is falling on a set in a film set in a movie. Like, do you like,
it's funny you say
and,
that
like,
because like
like
it's funny you say that. Like every time I'm in a museum I feel like, or like a gallery, I feel fucking crazy. I'm like, this is the weirdest place I've ever been in. Like people running around taking like I think part of it is like partly my brain, like the meta way I just exist in the world.
Same.
But it's like I just see the machine, like the cogs of the machine as it's like happening. Like I'm really good at pattern recognition, you know? And like I'm like, so we all are just like it's like maybe being a hater is about being in ongoing existential dread. Really.
Oh, yeah. I think this podcast in some ways is a hater podcast.
It's a
Like,
hater,
I think
it's a podcast for the haters. And I really think if you're listening to this, like something inside you, and like again, I'm gonna sound like such an I'm like, wake up.
but I feel like also like being a hater. Okay, oh my god, this is I totally agree with like there's so many things in my brain right now. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree that being a hater is for the girls, the gays, and the theys. Like there is like a way that certain folks have had to survive, which is like to observe and comment on and gossip and like to have an opinion. Do you know what I'm saying? Is like a form of survival in some ways, right? And I think like who has better opinions? Who has the gossip?
Yeah.
But the women and the gays. I think there's like a whole history of that, and like we could get into that. But like there's this like language that is spoken, right? And I think like there's this like you have to kind of look at everything for what it is in its truth because you're like scared of being like hoodwinked or manipulated or like, you know what I mean? Like put into a violent potentially situation, right? Because you're like, where I think that's kind of where it comes from is like I can't take anything for face value.
Yeah, like hating is like, I don't know, gossip's sister
Survival.
or something like that. Yeah. Like to be able to look at something and be like, okay, if we're going to exist in this space, like here's how it's going to be. It's really funny. It's funny that that's the direction that you went because to me it is such, well, I guess they're so close. Like if we're going to talk about pop culture, we're really talking about culture and like how we relate to one another. Right.
There's like a bonding because like I think women, I mean, I think anybody who feels like a hater, right, feels this way that like the comment all the time, right, is exactly what you said. Like you can't have any fun or don't take everything so seriously or like it's not that deep or calm down or you know what I mean? Like all those things. And I think that to be a hater is like to like reflect back what people don't want to look at or see. Yeah. And it makes people uncomfortable. Yeah. And so of course we're being like shot down or whatever in those moments. And I think that's the role of like these people we're talking about, right? Of artists, of women, of, you know what I mean? Like certain groups, right? Is to like reflect back and people don't like that. I think you're inevitably a hater if you're an artist. I think you're inevitably a hater if you're like belong to some oppressed group, right?
Well,
like,
I think it's funny you say that because I think like being, to me, anger is like the way I create like really if I think I'm going to think about it like all of the time. And I think anger is like a great tool for creativity and therefore, you know, like iteration on change in the world. And so I don't know, like maybe like could you make something and like not be angry? Like the seed is
I
that
make
idea.
things when I'm not angry.
You can make something out of not anger. That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy to me. To me, everything I make is like, I hate this world. I want this thing in it for it to be better.
Yeah, I think the things that I'm most proud of or like the things that feel good. I gotta hate that word, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Like are usually that are like it's critique. It's like wanting to envision a new thing. It's like being mad. It's like, you know, like, like for sure. But I think I can start. I don't have to start there, I guess is what I'm saying. Usually I find, maybe I find it. I find that I'm angry. You know what I mean? I find that something is, you know, unfair or whatever the thing is, right?
Yeah. It's funny that you say critique too, because when I was thinking about this, I was really thinking about like critics. And I was like, critics aren't haters, I don't think. I think they are, I don't even know what. I can't stand our landscape of constant critique and I think it's, you know, maybe potentially ironic or something like that we opened the podcast this way. But I think that there's like a difference between conversation and critique. And I think critique is like a skill that people learn. And I think the way that people talk about critique now is like not actually like how that works. And like I wish everyone had to go to at least a semester of art school in their life so that you could learn, like, so you could learn and develop that skill, because I think it would get, like, it's a communication skill essentially, right?
Yeah.
Not even just
Yeah.
receiving critique, like giving it and like articulating your
Oh,
thoughts
yeah.
and ideas in a way. And I think the
Mm-hmm.
way that we talk about critique now is like from this, like, to me, it's like interconnected with like media literacy, basically, right? It's like
Oh, yeah.
we can't, like, we don't actually know. Oh my God, there's like so many things I want to say. We don't actually
Yeah.
know what we're like eating. So how could we possibly like analyze it at the same
Mm-hmm.
time? And like,
Mm-hmm.
really, I think if you were a critic and you actually wanted to be a true hater, you would watch something, it would maybe piss you off, or you would like it or something. Some sort of like inspiration spark would happen. And then you would go and make your own thing.
Yeah. I think so. Yes, 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 yes. I know that one of the things that bothers you about like people consuming art is is everyone having opinion about everything all the fucking time,
Mm-hmm.
and like why can't we just like
Mm-hmm.
enjoy something,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like the letterboxed
Yeah.
literally of it all,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Like
Right,
quickly
like
rating something.
and I think you're right. Like I think talking about Bridgerton and like what we liked, what we didn't like, what we whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
on that whole is not the same thing, because criticism or critique
Mm-hmm.
is different, like you're saying, than a review of
Yes.
something.
Yes.
Having
Yes.
critics
Yes.
go and watch something, because that world, that journalistic,
Mm-hmm.
which is this argumentative, it's arguable if it's actually journalism, but like that, where it began,
Mm-hmm.
the whole reason was for capitalism.
Yeah.
It's marketing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it has its own agenda.
Yeah. Its own like driving
And so
force
it's like
behind it. Yeah.
it has its own driving force. It has its own agenda. So then we start to get into this like really weird gray, like sloppy world
Mm-hmm.
with like the world of the internet, where now
Mm-hmm.
everybody can be a critic, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody can have review something, and everybody can write a
Yeah.
medium essay, and everybody can like whatever. Because I do believe that there are people who fundamentally understand and maybe have, you know, this background that we're talking about, and like have media literacy skills, and then like watch something.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are some reviews that I've read and I'm like,
Yeah.
that person
Even if
knows
I
what's up.
disagree with you, I'm like, oh, I can
Yes, even if I
listen to
disagree.
this. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then there are some where I'm like, shut up. Like, what
are you
is
talking
this?
about?
Like,
Yeah.
this is just like, this should be like an Instagram post,
Yeah.
which is like totally fine. But it's like, I think I think there's like this muddiness, like this muckiness,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, of these things, because they're different.
Mm-hmm.
What's disappointing is when somebody reads a review of something, exactly, and that determines whether or not that person's going to go and have an experience. I think that's like unfair.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
versus if like the response was art
Mm-hmm.
and not like an article or an essay, which like you can also argue is maybe art. Like, I don't know,
Yeah.
right? Like, how would that shift and change things?
Yeah.
You know, we would all, yeah. I don't know.
I
This is also coming from people who we both look at everything before we consume something,
Yeah.
which I think is also its own thing.
love,
You know?
yeah, I love to read a spoiler alert before I go
Me
in
too.
and read some, like, or whatever. I think that there's a difference between like a hot take and an actual critique. And I don't think
Mhm.
hot takes are like, sure, hit me with your hot take. I think being a hater is about like actually standing behind that hot take, you know? And I think it's like, it's funny that we're talking about this, because I think like when Poor Things came out, I remember seeing so
Oh.
many weird
Yes. Weird.
like articles, video essays, TikTok, like just hot takes about this
Yeah.
movie. And I just remember thinking like, okay, yeah, media literacy is like a real problem. And like the younger
Mhm.
generation being like severely squicked out by the number of sex scenes in this movie. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I can listen to that, but like tell me why. And I have a feeling that like we end up in this place where we're like with the sex stuff in particular, I'm like, that's a really dangerous conservative slippery slope. you know, where we like want more, what's the word? You know,
Like freedom.
control over like
Oh.
rating systems and stuff like that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
And so it's like when we like actually
Yeah.
interrogate something with our values is very different than when we like interrogate something with our feelings. And I think people conflate the
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a single feeling, like just like any feeling, with bad, because of this like we just have to watch all of these
Mm-hmm.
things that are fine and not
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
I would argue like we only want safe things, and we're conflating a single feeling with with something equaling bad.
Like the entire point. Like we've lost the
Hmm.
plot. Like the entire point is to like feel
Hmm.
when you're like when
Yeah,
you're
when you're
watching
feeling,
something
and
that's been
it's like, why
yeah.
is you having maybe a feeling about bad something makes something bad?
Yeah. Right. I think, you know, this is kind of like the whole like I don't want someone to like indifference is like the worst feedback,
Yeah,
right? Or like indifference is like
yeah.
the worst thing that you can like you either like as an artist like you want your
Hmm.
audience to hate something or love something.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? To feel indifferent, have an audience feel indifferent is like, you know, it's like a
Yeah, radio
whatever.
silence would be horrible. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, radio
yeah.
silence is horrible. And I think like that's also kind of part of this too, right? Is like that yeah, you're right. Like I often find myself talking to people about art and going, good, you felt something.
Yeah. Hmm.
Like, great, moving on.
Or you
like,
felt
like,
something and you feel compelled,
like,
like, please go pick up the pen. Like the like
yeah.
single star letterbox reviews are like, I think I was telling you about like a rating system that they use, I think in mostly LA theaters for like, again, marketing. You rate the
Mm.
movie, like you give it like a letter grade, and it's determining of
Oh.
right after you come out of the theater. So you give something like an A, B, C, or D. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's a button on a machine, and they use it for like marketing purposes or like how to determine how long to keep a movie around or something like that.
And like
And
where it sells to, probably.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I just was like, oh my God. Which I think is
Ew.
really, I think, you know, we're talking about movies just because I think, like, because we always end up talking, I feel like we always end up using movies as an example just because it's something that,
Yeah.
like, it's so, not just like, it's not just like inaccessible. I think, like, you know, the art hanging in
Mm.
your home is like the most accessible form of art, like the shit on
Right.
TV. But a movie is an experience, right? It's like an experience of art that's like pretty common. And like to me, my
Mm.
favorite thing about going to the movies is the walk home after talking about it, whether or not I liked it.
Oh, delicious.
Like
Yes.
that's
Mm-hmm.
like that to me is like the experience of going to see something, or like, yeah, the conversation I'm having in the gallery is like
Yeah.
the moving, I don't even want to just call it like the point, like I want to call it like, I don't know, like
Mm-hmm.
that's the 3D humanness of it afterwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think like, I think all of that, I think like being a hater is like, I don't know, maybe just like the complexity of these experiences. But then also, I do feel like when I was like imagining the vision of a hater in my head, I was like, you know, it's the cool girls at the back of the room. Everything that's fucking cool in this world is from haters, too, by the way. If you want something cool
Mm-hmm.
and like pure and rock and roll and like slay, it's from haters, right? Like if we're gonna just using the word slay, right? Like drag is
Yeah.
for haters. I think like
Yeah.
the other side of that is like a real like intense love of something. So like, I don't know, maybe it's your
Mm-hmm.
band t-shirt, like maybe it's Taylor Swift, or like maybe it's a certain art form or something like that. Like I think that's why being a hater is like so canonically like, you know, for women, for marginalized groups, like for
Mm.
the like underground of like information sharing is like,
Yeah.
it's like passion. It's passion, and passion can be either thing. It can be
Mm-hmm.
love, it can be hate.
There's like this negativity for sure. Yeah, I keep thinking about these moments in my life where I'm in social situations and I don't feel like everyone else feels in the room, or I'm like seeing, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like where you're talking about like the cogs or
Mm-hmm.
the, and I'm like, ugh, it's like this feeling. It's like, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's like, ah,
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah. It's like totally
and
crazy making, right?
it's totally crazy making. And then like, you go and you say the thing and everyone wants to just call you like a grumpy.
Yeah.
Like you're miserable. You can't enjoy life.
Well, I think
or
that's
something,
misogyny,
you know?
right? Like if being a hater
Right.
is like canonically like woman, then like
Yeah.
we hate women. Which is
Yes.
really our
Right.
our hypothesis
Yes.
here at Do You Ever Media is we hate women, and we hate when women have thoughts and opinions, and we hate the shit that women like, right? I think ultimately, if I was gonna like bring this back around, I think this is why Bridgerton is getting is being done so dirty right now, is because we feel, and by we I mean patriarchy and capitalism feels able to just take shit that women like and like grind it up into mush and be like, here you go,
Mm.
this is what you get, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like we
I'm interested.
feel able to say things like that to him, be like, oh, you're just grumpy, you're just crazy, do
Oh
you ever
yeah.
like anything?
You're just grumpy. Do you ever like anything? And if you, yeah, for sure. If we kind of like, I see what you're saying. Because, yeah, I think the choices of Bridgerton in season 3 are a direct result of how we feel about the main consumer, right? Which is women.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and again, not necessarily in a negative way, but
No.
like in a, like in a, we've had enough to now know our audience, right? Like we've had 2 seasons, we've had 3 seasons or whatever, and now we know like who is going to stick around.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think things like putting Penelope in like Manola Blahniks
Yeah.
starts to like, do you know what I mean? Starts to go like, wait a second. You know what, like we're now in a Vogue that's only ads.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're now Vogue, like
Yes.
you know, like Vogue now is like literally only ads.
Yes.
There's like maybe 2 good pieces
Yes.
in a Vogue now, right?
Yeah.
So it's like yeah, I see what you're saying, right? Like this is what women like. This is what women
Yeah. Well, and we
want.
can
This is what, yeah.
crush the stuff that women like.
Right. That
Yeah.
maybe had whatever flavor it had before.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like in order to keep this going, we can kind of just like flatten it. We can like make it not be,
Because like I was trying to think of, you know, quote unquote like men's TV. I mean, I guess sports. I guess like it was like, you know, like a Game of Thrones or something like that. Like the way that we like crush production value or something like that. And like again, I also am always curious about like what are the actual demographics of these things versus like the perceived demographics of these things, right? But like we don't see the same treatment to like men's, quote again, like air quotes, men's media as we do to like women's media.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just because it's like, again, like patriarchy. It's like, oh, well, here's what you get. Here's what you get. This is it.
Yeah.
Here's some mush.
Yeah. Because there are like the ladies that are like loving it. And then there are the haters.
And then there's me at the back of the room absolutely fucking dunking on it. And you know what, too? It's like I was thinking like, you know, like the way that we started. It's like,
I want to know what it is. Yeah.
If you grew up as the ugly girl at the back of the room and you were made fun of and you were fat, you were that forever. I don't care how good my eyebrows get in my life. I don't care how, you know, whatever that is. Like when you're an ugly girl or you're othered in some way, you are like, that's who you are inside of your bones and body. And like, you know, there's various intersections of privileges, etc. And also like, yeah, I'm a hater because that's where everybody else put me. They put me at the back of the room. So I'm like, fine, I'm going to stand here in my fucking Misfits band tee and dunk on y'all with the other fat ugly girls. And you know, and we'll keep it real. And guess what, you always like the shit that we make too. So
yeah. So I'm gonna ask you something that is gonna drive you insane. Is Penelope a hater?
Oh yeah, she's a hater. She's a real hater. Are you fucking kidding me? Whistledown?
Yeah.
I'd fucking love to write that. I'd love to Gossip Girl my way through life. Are you for real? Actually, this is like a full ass Bridgerton episode, I guess. Fucking Lady Whistledown is like, you know, the template, really. Fat girls unite
she is.
and gossip about everybody else.
Yeah.
And make something cool and get fucking rich off of it. Oh, you all like my little paper that I publish all the time. Well, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Interesting.
I have at the end of my notes here, be a hater, avoid monoculture, reject American imperialism and media.
And scene.
I think being a hater is like a really beautiful thing, and like it's so ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Avoid monoculture. I just think like I don't know. I do really feel like it's a dying art form.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I agree. I think that, yeah, I didn't think I was a hater because I don't know if I knew exactly what it was.
It's funny that you didn't know.
And now I'm like, okay, I'm a hater for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think haters are people who, it's not like distrust. It's just like, or mistrust or whatever that word is.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like, I don't look at
critical
anything
thinking
and think it doesn't have an agenda.
Oh yeah.
I don't look at a single fucking thing and think,
Yeah.
and not be like, huh?
Yeah.
About anything.
Yeah.
Like an email that someone sends me.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
like an advertisement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or a fucking campaign to raise money for blah, blah, blah. Like literally,
Yeah.
I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
About everything.
I mean, again, like I'm very angry about the world, like just in general. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. I think it's bad. We're in the bad place. And I don't know, maybe I can have fun. I feel like I have fun. Like I love lying in the grass. I love looking up at the clouds, but like I just am refuse to gaslight myself into thinking like, oh, this is fine. Like, business as usual. I was looking at like the last month, why do I not feel good? I'm like, oh, because like the world is bad. The world is bad. And that gets me down. And I'm not interested. I think that there's something that happens too if you like stop gaslighting yourself. Mm-hmm. I think like you become less tired because you're just spending less mental energy being like, this is fine. And I think like actually like being a hater is like a more relaxed state to be in. Be like, yeah, this is bad actually. This is not good.
Mm-hmm. Well, I also think it gives you permission to like, right, like feel your complicated feelings. Mm-hmm. One of the things I'm always telling myself is that I'm going to be a different person at like any given moment. Yeah. In a day,
5 minutes.
Like in 5 minutes, in an hour, and like whatever. I guess what I'm saying is the only way to like do something with the hater feelings, right? Like the only way to lay in the grass and maybe have joy is to create things in the world that you want to see, right? Like and that I think is always where you and I are coming from. Like, what do we currently need and what can we pay for it? How can we respond to it? How can it fit into our lives? What time? Like, like we make things we want.
I think what you and I are really good at is like not like the idea of pricing is coming to my mind right now. Like when I get the question of like, how do I price something? It's like, well, what do you need? Right? Instead of like looking around at what other people are doing. And I think this goes for any kind of creation. Pricing is just what came to my mind. But it's like, okay, how do I make this thing? Maybe I go and look around at other people and like that's like a nice initial phase of like an idea.
Right.
Like what's happening. But like what do you want? Like actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's maybe like how we be haters and like how we make stuff and like and why I do actually feel like it's a beautiful thing to be a hater and like it's not fun to be like severely bullied and like be oppressed all of the time. It's like not fun. And like also I know you read this book as well, Letters to My Weird Sisters, an amazing book. I highly recommend everyone read this book.
It's so good.
Add to your long list of TBR lists. But she writes about like seeing these other like weird Carrie as an example, like these women that are like, I don't even like ostracized socially. And I've like really, when I am out in the world, I know those women. I've been that woman. I've been plural women all at once.
Yeah.
I go out of my way to like say hello to those people, and like, and it's not even like oh, and then they'll be cured from their like weirdness. I'm like, no, like I just want to be together with the people in
alone.
the weirdness. Yeah, I think like that is important. I think that's like, maybe it's like being a hater is about like being in community, really.
Yes, it's about being in community, and it's about like when you are declaring these like hater things or whatever, which like
we are all wearing the same band t-shirts.
Like actually,
yeah,
and like I think that's I really, 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 really respond to this feeling of being in a place and being like, I think people have told me my whole life I'm just like a contrarian for the sake of being a contrarian, or I'm argumentative or whatever it is. When it's like, no, I'm extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Actually.
Well, and I think the idea of being told you're too much actually just means like that other person doesn't have the capacity for that thing, right? It's like you're not actually too much. There's no such thing as being too much as a human being.
Anyway. Yeah. Totally.
Anyway, that's what I have for being a hater.
Okay.
I just think like it's be a hater, wear band t-shirts, scowl, make stuff, do zines. I don't know. Everything fucking cool is born from being a hater. So like if you want to be cool.
I'm reading. Yeah. I'm reading. Oh God, Amanda. Is that her name?
Amanda Palmer.
The singer of the Dresden Dolls.
Amanda Palmer. Yeah.
Book.
Iconic hater.
It is the coolest fucking thing
Amanda
I have ever
fucking
read
Palmer.
About being an artist.
Yeah.
Like, you want to see a fucking hater, like, dress her up in a bride statue costume and stick her in the middle of a park. Like
was it Amanda Palmer? I think it was Amanda Palmer who was like busking naked all the time.
She was a
would like do her concerts naked as well, I think.
Yeah. She started like out as like a street performer.
Yeah.
As a statue, a bride statue.
Right.
In the middle of a park in Boston. Like,
crazy.
And figured out she could make $100 a day from standing still. Like,
smarter woman than I. Yeah.
Smarter woman than any of us.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, what are we doing?
Not a bad
Why are we on the Zoom?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Why do I have a podcast in front of me? Like,
why aren't I naked in a park somewhere? Wait a second.
Literally the entire time that I was reading this book, I was like, what?
Have I overcomplicated this? Get naked, get into the back of a room, have frizzy hair.
Yeah.
Be critical.
Be
angry.
And as Amanda Palmer is in this book, be angry. And Amanda Palmer in this book is like emotionally like torn at any given moment, right? Like never, like, you know what I mean? And I think that that's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's why I think we're so fucking tired. Like you're saying all the goddamn time.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of explaining myself. I don't want to explain myself to anyone.
Yeah, you want to lie down.
I want to say, and then have everyone go, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And not have to like have the 5-page essay.
Yeah.
Ready.
No more.
No.
Resist.
Okay.
Resist.
Razas. Yes.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Do You Ever Feel Like, a podcast from Do You Ever Media.
Follow this chaos wherever you get your pods.
Our artwork is by Simon Pang.
You can write us at doyoueverpod@gmail.com.
Learn more about our work at doyouevermedia.com.
Or by following us at Do You Ever Media.
Okay, bye!
Okay, bye!